So prior to the Kenya Space Agency was established under the Kenya Space Policy of 2016. So it was important for the agency to review that space policy because it wanted to create a regulatory framework for space activities in Kenya. So what are some of the needs that necessitated the review of the Kenya Space Policy of 2016? So the emergence of new development trends and strategic imperatives in the global space economic system necessitated the review of the Kenya Space Policy of 2016. So we've seen the new technologies, new global space governance issues that pertain to international cooperation, the need for countries to resolve issues of space debris mitigation and space traffic management, and also the strategic imperatives. Kenya seeks to be a space-faring nation, and in addition to that, Kenya has also participated in regional initiatives in space activities. And from the conversations that we've been having, we've seen that space economy presents an opportunity. So Kenya seeks to tap into this area. And just to briefly outline the benefits of establishing a legal framework for the space industry would include the harmonization and smooth implementation of all space activities in the country, stemming from international obligations. If we implement and have a strong and enabling legal framework, it is easy to track out the issues of compliance, issues to do with continuous monitoring and the supervision of all space actors. And also, space activities attract foreign direct investment into the country, which are significant contributors to the GDP of a country. Then the other benefit would be that the collaborative efforts between private entities in space exploration drive competition and innovation within a country. Then just to set the pace for why we need to establish the legal framework is that the Kenya Space Agency is established under an executive order. This does not contribute to the corporate sustainability of the agency. So it was important that we establish the agency under an act of parliament. Then in the executive order, the agency is mandated with the role of coordinating, promoting, and regulating space activities in the country. Then in the delivery of its mandate, the agencies focus on those 4 key areas. I won't belabor on that. But just to set the pace on the legal journey that the agency took in coming up with the space bill, and just to mention this is the first ever space legislation that has been drafted in Kenya, and in that process of coming with this space bill. This bill was drafted taking into consideration international space law principles and best practices in space law. And additionally, there was extensive desktop study and review of other legal and regulatory frameworks from other countries. And from this, the agency was able to come up with a zero draft, which was presented to the Kenya Space Agency Board. And just to mention the support that in coming up with this space bill, the support that the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs accorded to the agency through the TAM project, that is the Technical Advisory Mission. It was a capacity building initiative that sought to bring about global space experts, and from these activities, the agency was able to come up with a bill. And in addition to that, Article 10 of the Constitution provides for public participation, and in coming up with this bill, there was a lot of public participation that the agency involved the various sector. We all know that the space sector cuts across different sectors. So then also the Kenya Space Agency Board was very instrumental and supportive through this process. It was able to give strategic direction to the Kenya Space Agency, and not to bore you with the elaborate process on how the various processes that the bill underwent, but just to mention is the fact that the bill is in its advanced stages, and the agency is yet to undertake a final validation exercise, which will be in the month of August, and after that, the bill will be ready to be presented to the Ministry of Defense and the Attorney General and the Cabinet Secretary. So for those who are really keen on investing in the space sector, this is to let you know that the bill is almost it's almost there. Then just to briefly go through some of the elements that the space bill covers. The bill outlines the objects of the Act, and from international treaties and space law, use and exploration of space activities should be in line with only peaceful uses, and from the preamble of our bill, the bill excludes military space activities. So also some of the elements that are covered in the bill, we have issues of authorization and licensing, continuous monitoring of non-governmental entities, issues of registration of space objects, liability and insurance, transfer of ownership of space activities, and there are so many issues that are covered in the bill. And the structure of the bill is in 5 parts. There is the first part, which is the preliminary parts. In the preliminary parts, there's the preamble that sets the purpose of the bill. Then the second part is the establishment of the agency. And in this bill, the agency is established under an act of parliament. Remember, we said that previously it was established under an executive order. So also in the third part of the bill, there is operations of the agency under the act. And in this part, the agency shall undertake various activities, issues to do with Earth observation, space weather, launch and launch activities, ground infrastructure, satellites and their operations, establishments of space centers, and duty to ensure. Just as I had earlier on mentioned, the bill reflects some of the international space law, and based on that, also, I'm forgetting something, issues of safety. Safety is very important because they contribute to, they have a direct link to international liability. So safety in terms of design of space objects, that is a critical aspect that is covered in the bill. And with that, I think I'd like to stop my presentation at that because of time. Thank you.
Yes, the stage has been set, the ecosystem has been touched upon, the legal frameworks has been broken down. Now the next session is going to be a panel session, and we have great speakers for the session. To begin with, we have Brigadier Hilary Kipkosgei. He's currently the Acting Director General, CEO of Kenya Space Agency, a position he assumed in June 2021. Prior to this, he was the head of logistics and maintenance at the National Air Support Department. Brigadier Kipkos-Gay has held several appointments previously, which include defense attaché at the Kenya Embassy in Washington, D.C., commanding officer, aircraft maintenance wing, head of coordination at the National Counterterrorism Center, head of information and communications technology division at NCTC, and senior instructor at the Defense Force Technical College. He has long experience in aviation maintenance and information systems. Brigadier Kipkos-Gay holds a Master of Strategic Studies, a Master of Science in Communication and Information Systems, a postgraduate diploma in Strategic Studies, and a Bachelor in Technology in Electrical and Communications Engineering. His interest spans from policy and strategy formulation, information technologies, Earth observation, and remote sensing application, international space governance and cooperation, and space policy and law. Welcome, Brigadier. It's an honor. Yes, as I said, we have some heavy hitters here. Now, number 2. We have Stella Wawira. Stella Wawira is the Acting Director, Legal and Regulatory Affairs at Telkom Kenya. She has extensive experience in regulatory and public policy, legal services, ethics and compliance, and stakeholder management, both as a corporate leader and independent consultant. As a diligent and persuasive legal and governance expert, she has actively participated in innovative and effective public policy reform, compliance operations, advocacy, corporate affairs, government relations, and stakeholder engagement. Stella, having also worked with industry regulator, the Communications Authority, in its regulatory affairs and governance function, has amassed invaluable thought leadership experience in regulatory and compliance matters, as well as vast corporate knowledge engaging with Pan-African and international internet connectivity, telecommunications, and payments authority. She's an alumna of the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, where she studied law. She's also an advocate of the High Court and a certified Public Secretary of Kenya. Welcome, Stella. Thank you so much. Now, next on the list, Dr. Humphrey Njogu. The amount of work he's done is quite a lot, so I'll summarize it. Dr. Njogu is a doctor of engineering. He's the head of Infrastructure and Economic Services Department at the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis, in short, KIPRA. He has more than 18 years of experience in the field of infrastructure planning and development. He has participated in various national assignments, which include technical writer for proposal for renewable technologies to G20 countries, and a think tank 20 initiative, technical working member to develop the National Urban Transport Policy 2024, and task force member to formulate the Data Protection Policy and Bill in Kenya 2018-2019, among many others. Dr. Njogu is trained by BRICS and JICA on fourth industrialization revolution and emerging technologies. He has published in the World Authoritative Journals of Information Security, Elsevier and Wiley, and in the World Premier Conferences. His research interest includes public policy research on digital technologies, renewable technologies, electric mobility, smart cities and homes, and intelligent economies. Welcome, Dr. Humphrey. Thank you so much. Now, next on the list, as I said, we have heavy hitters around here, is Catherine Wahome. Catherine is a senior legislative drafter at Kenya Law Reform Commission. She's a highly regarded law reformer, known for her meticulous legal expertise and dedication to shaping the nation's legislative landscape. Catherine holds a Bachelor of Law degree from Moi University, a postgraduate diploma in law from the Kenya School of Law, and certification in legislative drafting from the International Law Institute in Kampala, Uganda. She is currently pursuing her master's degree in law specialization in intellectual property and ICT law at the prestigious Mount Kenya University. She's an advocate of the High Court of Kenya with over 10 years experience in legislative drafting. She's a commissioner for oaths, notary public, certified professional mediator, and legal audit and compliance specialist. Catherine's career began as a legal officer in the commission. She's quickly distinguished herself through her keen understanding of legislative intricacies and her ability in drafting clear, concise, and effective legislation, including the current Draft Space Bill 2024. Over the years, she has played a pivotal role in drafting numerous significant bills and amendments and addressing critical areas such as disaster risk management, healthcare, and data protection. Catherine's commitment to enhancing legislative equality and governance in Kenya has earned her respect and recognition both locally and internationally. Her work continues to impact the legal landscape, ensuring that Kenya's laws are well-crafted, accessible, and reflective of the country's evolving needs and aspirations. She's a member of several legal bodies, including the Law Society of Kenya and the Commonwealth Association of Legislative Counsel. Welcome, Catherine. Welcome so much. Huh? Thank you so much. Now, last on the list is Mr. Jared Omondi Boga. Mr. Boga Jared is a GIS and remote sensing expert with bias in natural resources management, development, and climate change governance. He is a graduate from Egerton University in natural resource management and holds a Master of Science in climate science and geoinformation science and earth observation from University of Nairobi and ITC University of Twente in the Netherlands, that is. He has also training on sustainability from Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, that's in Zurich, Switzerland, and under auspices of Alliance for Global Sustainability, that is AGS. Mr. Boga is endowed with over 15 years of practice, experience in strategies for sustainable development and application of GIS and remote sensing in management of rangeland ecosystems, both at the local and international palace. His focus is natural resource conflict, mapping and management, pasture resilience, community empowerment within a healthy environment, geospatial analysis and land use of GIS, and earth observation in natural resources development, and planning, among others. Busoga has consulted for EU funded projects, global rangelands initiatives, among others. He currently serves as a state director at the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, overseeing the delivery of the Affordable Housing Program. Welcome, Mr. Jared. Thank you so much. Huh? Welcome. So now we will jump into the session of asking questions, and I'll try to be as simple as possible. Now, I think the best thing is for me to take the other seat, if you don't mind at all. So at least, no, you can sit here. Don't worry, I'll sit here. At least I get the honor to sit next to the bosses around here. So, jumping to the first question, in the interest of time. My first question goes to the DG himself. How can developing countries contribute to shaping international space governance frameworks to ensure a future where space exploration is conducted peacefully and collaboratively for the benefit of all humankind? And that's to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for asking me that difficult question. Of course, we all appreciate that space is global commons, and secondly, it is supposed to be used for, for the good of all humanity. Thirdly, there is really no supranational body that oversights or, governs the use of space. So there is need for international collaboration, and in this case, to be able to utilize collectively for the common good of all nations, there is need for international collaboration. And in terms of international collaboration, for especially nations in the global south who are new entrants in this global space economy, there's a lot that needs to go into capacity building so that we are able to participate effectively in decision making sit on the table and have our issues also taken into consideration. So I think to just shorten my response, there's a lot in terms of international collaboration. There's a lot in terms of capacity building so that we are able to bring meaningful discourse to the decision making at the international forum.
Thank you, DG, for that answer. And you've set the stage for the next question that I do have for Catherine Wahome. Should developing countries prioritize harmonizing their space laws with the existing international frameworks or focus on crafting regulations tailored to their specific needs and capabilities?
Thank you. Thank you very much for Mr. Moderator. Again, I'd like to thank KSA for such a wonderful, wonderful organization of this conference. The legal framework in Kenya now, we are trying to strike a balance on a flexible yet robust framework for the space industry. We need to have, we've now outlined clear and comprehensive safety standards for the space sector. We have also addressed security measures for the space industry and how we are going to govern both administratively and going forward, how we are going to oversee all the space-related activities in Kenya. And of course, KSA, as the leading space agency, is going to be a regulatory body which will oversee all space activities in this country. So we are inviting all investors to come forth to invest in this country, both financially or otherwise, that Kenya is able to, we have the safe space to accommodate your investments. We also have the legal framework for environmental responsibility. We are aware about the space debris in currently. So we are also addressing that in line also with the Outer Space Treaty. We also have, we are also having in place international collaboration with other stakeholders. So I believe our legal framework has encompassed all these key elements in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Now, my next question is fully loaded, and therefore I'll have two speakers to respond to the next one. And the question is, how can a legal framework strike a balance between encouraging innovation and entrepreneurial activity in the space sector while ensuring safety, security, and environmental responsibility? So the first person I'll ask this question to is Stella Wawira. Now, let me ask it once again because it's fully loaded. How can a legal framework strike a balance between encouraging innovation and entrepreneurial activity in the space sector while ensuring safety, security, and environmental responsibility? To you, Stella.
Thank you so much, Bona Moderator, for that question, and thank you everyone who's here for your participation and for the growing knowledge base. I think one of the things that we can do as a country, and in response to this question, is to encourage dialogue and collaboration and engagement on such matters. In terms of how a legal framework can strike a balance, is that a legal framework, first and foremost, should be flexible and robust, as Catherine said. It should not be prescriptive. It should be an enabling legislation that allows innovation, allows experimentation. More specifically, it should have entrenched in its system an opportunity for people to be able to test ideas, so maybe in the form of things like trial licenses, lighter entry fees for people who are experimenting and innovating with new ideas. There should be a controlled environment. There are things you cannot negotiate on. So for example, safety is paramount, consumer protection is paramount, environmental safeguards are things that you can never wish away. So how do you balance between this? Is there standards? There are standards we know in terms of manufacturing of devices, in terms of manufacturing of various equipment. So a regulator should ensure that these are honored with, even as people are testing. There should be keen and continuous regulatory oversight such that the regulator and the private sector and the innovators, regardless of their size, are working hand in hand to achieve common objectives, because the common objectives are the same, whether you are in it for private profit or whether you are in it for public good. You actually do want consumers to be happy. You want a product that solves people's needs. You want a product that is safe so that even your customers can have confidence in what you're doing, what you're selling, the services you're providing. So there are shared objectives, and there is a path where people can collaborate and achieve this. I liked what DG said, that there's room for a lot of collaboration. And collaboration is both with other space agencies in the global arena, but also with other regulators in the country, such that space cuts across very many sectors. And if regulators, even within the country, work together, there'll be less barriers to entry, because there'll be less compliance, because all this, you don't have to do multiple compliance requirements and checks across the regulators. The regulators can actually work together to minimize the barriers of entry, which in essence also will spur innovation and encourage a lot of interest and activity in the sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stella. The next question, or rather the same question, I'll direct it to Jared Boga. And the question again is, how can a legal framework strike a balance between encouraging innovation and entrepreneurial activity in the space sector while ensuring safety, security, and environmental responsibility, considering that much of your work has been in that sector?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kariuki, for the moderation, and congratulations to KSA for this second Expo, which has brought many participants in the space. That question, I'll respond to it in twofold. Number one is that the fodder that gets into catalyzing development of the space entrepreneurship is through education. And we need to look at the where the regulations shall inform curriculum development from elementary stages through to the higher levels of education, because the sophistications that come with space entrepreneurship requires deep understanding that comes with education. So the role of institutions that advance education in this country and education policy is critical in balancing that front. Number two, the role of the private sector to enhance user development of the tools that that comes to the field, comes to the entrepreneurial space. It is critical that need to be a discussion around regulations, legal framework that balances the development of that space, because we have numerous agencies and also private-led associations, including Kenya Association of Manufacturing, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, and so on and so forth. Then lastly, which again is critical, is the policymakers, because as it were, the Kenya space law is still a bill. There's still need for input to it, but we need to drive a critical mass on finding relevant inputs to the law, such that if it comes to play, in the interim, what are the test mechanisms that we put in this piece of legislation together with its regulatory and policies to test it if it is robust or otherwise, because as we are doing a catch-up from quite much advancement in the space industry. So for us to realize that, we need to open up space, have a discussion on those three fronts: education, private sector, then the legislative arm of government to realize a critical mass for us to realize good legislations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Jared Boga. And in the interest of time, I'll jump to the next question, which is also kind of heavy laden. And therefore, I'll have two persons answering to it. And the first person is towards Dr. Humphrey. What legal provisions can be put in place to ensure equitable access to space opportunities and benefits for different stakeholders within the developing country?
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. Yeah, I think this is a question that really can actually help us to address so many gaps. If you are very keen, you realize that the presentations that actually went before the panel highlighted so many gaps. And more importantly, we also have opportunities that we can derive on or take advantage of. Now, so how do we align ourselves so that we are able to match those opportunities that are there? So for me, I see many legal provisions that actually we can even put in place and implement. So for instance, we are talking about, Kenya Space Agency need to promote, coordinate activities of space sectors. So if we can actually have this put in place, we have a legal provision that is enabling this authority or this institution which is mandated to do this. I think this is actually one of the things actually we can actually be able to take advantage of, bring order to the sector so that we can be able to really bring a coordinated effort towards achieving what we want to see in a sector. More importantly, I happen to have also gone around the exhibition hall. What you find, I also interacted with a few of them, and I think what is actually happening is that we have a lot of startups who are actually participating in many activities, mostly the downstream activities, helping farmers access a loan based on the data they are providing. So if we could have a way of registering this, and I think this is actually one of the things that Kenya Space Agency is actually aspiring to do, so that we can be able to have registered entities who are, or actors who are actually participating across many activities in the value chain of space, whether it's upstream or downstream. I think this is actually one of the things actually we can be able to do. I know there are many things, including awareness. We are talking about people need to be aware of what space is. I'm sure when you talk to public or common mwananchi, they will really not understand what space can actually do. Yet, these space technologies and the space sector mean a lot. When I look at what is actually happening in other countries, like especially in Europe, space sector is actually making huge contribution to their GDP. Local here, yes, we are making, but I think we could still be able to do. So by creating that awareness, and this can actually be realized if maybe perhaps we are able to actualize laws that are speaking directly to what we need to do to create that awareness to the, not just to the common mwananchi, but also to the political actors, so that they can actually be able to provide the resources that are required so that they are we are able to drive the sector to the necessary height as compared to our peers. So I feel there is so much that we can do from a legal point of view, and I think the opportunity is there. And I'm happy because I think Kenya Space Agency has already started not just started, I think we are now told, we have been told that milestones, we're almost reaching there. And I think this is something that is really going to contribute significantly to the growth of the space sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Humphrey. And the same question I'd like to direct also to Mr. Victor Otieno. Reason behind that, it's because you've been so much in the ecosystem as far as innovations are concerned. And the question is, what legal provisions can be put in place to ensure equitable access to space opportunities and benefits for different stakeholders within the developing country?
Thank you very much. I think for me, I always see policy legislation taking a backseat to economic benefits. The reason why I'm saying this is because number one is we are in a developed country. Resources are very thin. So the fiscal headroom to be able to use unlimited budgets to achieve whatever we want to achieve is not there. So practically, MTP4 under the current government has prioritized certain issues: agriculture, SMEs, housing, healthcare, and the digital economy. The question is, how does space technology and the agency plug to solve the challenges that are currently in our strategic plan? So that we are not divorced from what is actually happening within the country. Each of the 47 counties has their county integrated development plans. So these are their strategic plans. They have issues and they have challenges, and they do not even know that space technology can solve some of the challenges they face. So I think from that's the first layer. Number two is then, what framework do we use to be able to engage national as well as county governments, just before we even enter into policy as well as legislations. So we have the Science, Technology, and Innovation Strategy for Africa, which is under AU, which prescribes to member states how they ought to be able to support the economies to be more digital. So they have certain building blocks that they have mentioned. Number one is infrastructure. So how do we build infrastructure that allows us to unlock space technology to address some of the issues that we have? They talk about policy. Again, then once we are able to engage, then we look at policy as a guardrail of sorts, not using policy as a regulator. The moment you say we are a regulator, guys are like, we have not even developed and you're regulating us. So that we also change that narrative. So policy and regulation is just as a safeguard to ensure that we don't use this type of technology for bad things. They talk about talent. I think as the DG has indicated, there's a lot of capacity building that has to happen at various levels. We can't just call guys in a crowd and say, come, we teach you on space. We need to be able to plug in within Ministry of Education, see the infrastructure that is there, all the way from primary TVETs up to university, and see how we can be able to progressively build capacity across board so that we can be able to get talent that is able to get into this space. And lastly is entrepreneurship. How then, what models do we adopt to ensure that whatever innovations that come are easily adopted to industry? How do we deal with IP? Yes, the agency engages different stakeholders. Some innovation comes out, but because it's a government agency, you can't commercialize that. Then what framework do we have to ensure that this IP is able to get into the civilian or private sector and is able to, they're able to commercialize, and of course, the common mwananchi is able to access, improve their lives. So I think that's for me would be the approach in terms of looking at policy, not as a driver by itself, but as an enabler of a framework that is working for society.
Thank you so much, Victor Otieno, for the elaborative answer. Now, I'd like to go back to the audience. I don't know if somebody has a pressing question. You're trying to run against time. So number one, right over here. I don't know if there's a mic walking around. I can give him mine. No, let me give it to you. No problem. Sorry, it's right there. I'm sorry.
Thank you indeed. Immensely beneficial discussion this. And the fact that I'm here and I wanted to listen in on these. All the panelists have come out with very relevant issues, very tangible. I'd like to load my question with a bit of comment. I come with the experience of my country, India, where 14 years back we had the same conundrum, where we are battling regulation and innovation. Promotion, regulation. I'm afraid both these are not synergetic. The regulatory mechanism for the first few years, I confess, because I retired, but then I moved into promoting industry, private startup. I found the regulatory mechanism really held up promotion. And today, 10 years later, there's some semblance of moving forward, definitely, the fact that I'm here. My second comment is on the international cooperation. I'm very happy this was brought out just now by one of the panelists. Indeed, if the international companies are here, obviously they'd like to have tangibility coming in. Now, for obvious reasons, protocols have to be put in place, policies have to be put in place. But actually to get tangibility, we've really got to move fast. For example, that commercial startup who's really battling for funding is not going to wait or waste time. He'll go to the next guy. He'll go and look for other avenues to give a solution. So that's my question. So in order to make sure that tangibility happens in the backdrop of regulatory issues and promotional issues which benefit society, I'd really ask anyone in the panel to give an assurance to people who come in from outside international market that this really is going to happen and happen fast. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the comment and the question. And I'd love to, who would be best to answer this one? Let me give it to the DG.
Yeah, good comment and question. So if you see like the approach that the agency has taken, it's very deliberate. We were given a very broad mandate, which is to promote, to coordinate, and to regulate space-related activities. But if you look at the core of our activities, mostly targeted at the promotion and the coordination aspects. The regulation aspect is something that we think needs to kick in much later. One, as we nurture the sector itself and the industry in Kenya, so that we also learn in the process of what to regulate. If we were to start regulating now, we would not even know what to regulate. So, but in that regulatory mandate, we're also taking the necessary preparedness through now, looking at what are the existing policy and regulatory frameworks across the world and which we could borrow from. And that's why now we've just started the journey. It is important that even as we now go into other ambitions and aspirations like launch activities, then the aspect of regulation must come in because, again, there are very serious issues around liability and responsibility. So that is why we, in our approach, we are a little bit silent on regulation, but more on promoting, nurturing the sector. And I think that is the approach that we're taking right now.
Thank you so much, DG.
I just wanted maybe just
sure.
A challenge.
Go ahead.
Again, this is based on my experience at the County of Nairobi. So one of the biggest challenges that I saw is the apathy of government to absorb technology. And I think this also presents an opportunity for the agency to push the agenda of adoption of different types of technology. And I think through the entire session, we are hearing there's application in agriculture. There's application in agriculture. I think this is an opportunity for the agency to be able to approach some of these sectors who already have budgets. So if you go to Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, all these other ministries, they have budgets and they are looking for solutions. So I think it's also an opportunity for the agency to go to different ministries as well as counties to educate some of the solutions that are there. And I think there is an opportunity for international partners who already have mature solutions to be able to give the solutions, but with a rider for collaboration with the ecosystem. So it's not you coming to give a solution and you go away with the dollars. We need a part of those dollars to remain in Kenya for us to enjoy them. Thank you.
Right. Also, Dr. Humphrey has an answer for us. Dr. Humphrey, you have something to say?
Just to add on what the DG and Victor have said, I think there is this concept of a sandbox environment, also sandbox solutions, which I think it's very common with most of the regulators that we find in across many sectors in our economy. So if you go to agriculture, if you go to ICT, the same. So what these sandbox solutions are doing is to really to invite the public, come with their innovations. And those innovations are actually given space to be tested. So, so the regulator has a space in terms of really seeing how those innovations are actually working before they actually rolled out, or even before even think of even regulating. So I think where we are, I think we are in a space where we are actually encouraging innovations to come in and see how they're working, even before we start even thinking of regulation. So there is space for the innovators to do so. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Now, somebody else wants to comment? I'm sorry, just go ahead, just go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'll be very quick. Am I audible? Yes. All right. Oh, thanks for that. This is going to sound like a paradox because I work in a highly regulated industry, but regulation is not necessarily a dirty word. I have a fintech background where we have been supported extensively by our regulators in terms of rolling out very innovative solutions such as mobile money, digital financing, and it's growing more and more. There are advantages to some element of regulations. For example, being given a long-term license allows you to invest with certainty because you know that you have the permission to do what you want to do and that your business will not be interfered with within the guaranteed period of time. Again, sometimes you do need regulatory resources, and the only way you can get maybe scarce and finite resources is if there's a very clear system in place that tells you how you qualify and how you access the resources in a fair and transparent manner. So what I think we're talking about is having very prescriptive rules that are not technology neutral, that are very limiting to what you can do. What a regulator should do is they should create an environment that has an element of certainty, but allows you a lot of room, as long as you're not harming markets and you're not harming consumers, to be able to deploy solutions that are actually responsive to the needs in that environment and to the needs of your community, and allow you to be able to carry out operations in a sustainable way. How do we achieve this? We achieve this by having dialogue and engagement and a lot of collaboration where there's a lot of knowledge transfer both ways, that the private sector and industry can be able to inform the regulators and the people who are coordinating and who are responsible from the sector from a public administration perspective of developments that have reasons, opportunities that are there, and also regulators, because they also have access to a lot of data and also a lot of insights from international collaborations. They can also be able to feed into the process. So the idea is really to engage and to collaborate and to have the fundamental principles at heart, that we are doing this for the benefit of all humankind. Thank you.
So much, yes. I don't know if somebody else in the panel before somebody else wants it. Okay. Now, let's go to, yes, gender balance, right? So let's go right here before we go to speaker number 3.
Thank you. I just want to add on to Stella's comment, and I want to state that for the space governance framework, the basic minimums are already prescribed when it comes to regulation. And I think during our panel session, I actually said that there are certain responsibilities that a state cannot escape from. Liability, responsibility, regardless of whether or not those space activities are conducted by the state itself or private sector players. And then it is left to national legislation for you to enact those specific provisions. So I think it's very important. That's what distinguishes the space sector, I think, from other sectors. The fact that already in international law, you as a state have an obligation to have that framework in place. So you must have the regulatory framework in order to be able to engage with other parties. Apart from what we have within the Outer Space Treaty framework, we also have rules around intellectual property, export control regimes, both for the US, the EU, and because of the technology having a dual use phase to it, you really have to have that step-by-step approach to your regulatory framework. And I think the DG has alluded to that. I thought maybe that would be useful just for us to keep in context. Thank you.
Is the mic working? Okay, yes. Kyle has a question for us.
Yeah, thank you for that opportunity, Kanamoho. I've heard about IP from Victor and also from Madam Wahome. Yeah, I was just wondering whether the Kenya Industrial Property Institute, which is just about a kilometer from here, whether they are represented here or the Ministry of Industrialization. Because when you talk about IPs, I think they should be there. The IP, well, it's a measure of innovative activities that are happening in a particular sector. In this sector of space, have we started maybe drafting some IPRs for maybe the MSMEs, the startups who are here, and how many have we drafted so far under these space matters? That's the question that I wanted to ask. Thank you.
That being the last question, I don't know who would like to answer it.
I will answer.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that question. I'm sure as we were drafting this bill, it's the very first space bill for Kenya, we invited a myriad of stakeholders, including KIPI. What you're alluding to in terms of intellectual property will be amongst one of the regulatory frameworks that we'll put in place. So once you've had this anchoring legislation, once you've established KSA, the Kenya Space Agency, as a body, we will have many, many regulations under it. One of the regulations is going to be the intellectual property framework for the Kenyan industry, and where we will invite you as the stakeholders when we are drafting that particular regulation on IP. We are going to invite stakeholders again on what you need to be put in legislation on that particular regulation. So it's still an ongoing process. It's still a bus on the wheel, and we are going to invite all the necessary stakeholders when we come to the regulation of IP rights in Kenya for the space industry. So it's a matter that's still on course. We are going to invite everyone. Every stakeholder on the table will have their say, and do not worry about it. We will invite each and every one of you. Thank you.
Yes. You want to comment? Okay. Is there a mic close by? You can use mic. I think there's one coming towards you.
Thank you so much, Moderator. On IP issues, one, we encourage all research institutions. I have a background in research, so we encourage all research institutions in Kenya to set up an IP liaison office. For developing of the policy, we have a template that we have actually developed as an institution, and we've been sharing with most of the research institutions. So it will be very important as we go ahead that even in the space sector, we share with you the template, and then you can be able to domesticate or customize it as per your needs. But it is critical that we establish an IP office that will be dealing with these issues as they come up. And I want to believe that maybe in our organogram, we might not have included it. But going ahead, we need to look into it and have it on board. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the comment. And that being the last question, please, a round of applause for all the speakers on the panel. And thank you so much for the patience that you've exercised in this session. So now I believe it's a moment for a photograph. And I'll bring the MC back to the stage.
Absolutely, Engineer. Let's give them another round of applause for taking us through that fantastic final ultimate session plenary that we had for the entire event. Thank you so much, Engineer Felix, Kariuki, and the fantastic panel for the great work done there. We really do appreciate that effort. Let's give them a round of applause as we take the photo. I'm sorry, I forgot to check if there were any smiles. Board chair, were they smiling? Well, okay, he says big thumbs up. We got some smiles. Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause as they head down.
Continue clapping until everyone has exited the stage. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Continue clapping. Thank you.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, the music is even telling us we need to end. We are really coming to the end of the session, and this is the last time you're going to hear from us in this capacity, because once we are done with this, we're going to invite the closing remarks from our board chair. However, we just had a few announcements we wanted to get through, and it feels like the photographer is taking photos of me now, when the whole event I was dressed better, I was less oily. Anyway, it's okay. We can take that now. And that actually leads me into something that we're going to do. But again, a round of applause for the team that has cleared the stage. Thank you very much. I think one thing that really stood out for me from the panel was how when the Director General was invited in, the KSA staff got very excited. So excited, in fact, that I got a text from him. He's given you all leave for the next 2 days. So please give yourselves a round of applause for that. Okay. I was just making it hard for him to not give you leave, but he has not given you leave. Please do not go on leave.
But the party after this is on him. It's on him, yes, he's agreed to that.
Instead, the other thing that we want to mention is we have a very small energizer before we come to the final activity. And for that, I'm going to ask us all to stand up. It's going to take us 1 minute to do, exactly 1 minute. If we can all rise to our feet. All rise to our feet. Okay. It's a very simple energizer, and it's going to take us exactly 1 minute. I've timed it. So we all have 4 limbs, and I'm hoping everybody, if anybody has any inability, disabilities, I apologize for that, but with our 4 limbs, we're going to count. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In the left hand, then the right foot, and then the left foot. We'll go from 10, and then 9, and then 8 down to 0. As we get down to 1. As we get closer to 1, I want us to build the tempo and the speed, okay? So it's going to take us exactly 1 minute starting. Get ready in 5, 4, hand in the air, 3, 2, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 7, 8, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 7, 8, 4, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Say it with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Together 3, 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. Thank you. Now wait. Please don't sit yet. Please don't sit yet. Now that I have you all standing and energized, I am going to take advantage of that and ask if we can come right to the front.
For the final time, please indulge us
15
and
minutes.
fill in the white seats there.
The reason for that is we have our photographer, James, who wants to take photos of us. However, we have a few white seats and it's a bit scattered. So for the sake of aesthetics, let's just have no white seats because we will be done in about 15 or 10 minutes or so.
He wants to accurately capture the attendees. There's so many of you, and you have attended, and we want to show that you have attended and enjoyed yourself.
Let's not fill that side. We want to fill these two columns. Please come right to the front. Let there be no seats, no empty seats in front. And also know that these are the official photos we'll be using. So you can take the few seconds that you have, brush up, touch up on the powder if need be. Make sure there's no spinach between our teeth, and then we can really focus going forward. James, how are we looking? Okay. I think James is a lot happier with that, fewer white gaps. So thank you very much for bearing with us. The final thing I just want to mention is we announced yesterday. Please take your seats. Thank you. Please take your seats.
Thank you.
The final thing I would just like to announce is that, or at least on my end before Daktari takes over, is I'm still out of breath. Is that yesterday we found a pair of earphones. We announced yesterday if anybody lost a pair of Bluetooth earphones. No one has collected them yet. We still have them. Please come to us if you have lost a pair of Bluetooth earphones.
And then I made an announcement earlier, Gloria. Gloria, have you found your bag? Is Gloria in the room? Gloria Witty had lost a very small bag, phone-sized bag that contained her ID. So if you have the bag, she misplaced it. Please go ahead and find her. I hear someone picked it up.
And finally, my last words, in the spirit of saving the worst for last, I do have a joke to share. There's been a lot of research done over the last 3 days, and a survey was done. You don't know, it was a silent survey, but it was done. And we were trying to figure out what the most favorite computer part for the Kenya Space Agency is. And we have the results. The favorite part for KSA staff of a computer is the space bar. Okay, I'll leave that.
Well, I how can you laugh louder than all the jokes after all the jokes?
This was the worst one. It's definitely agreed.
All right. I would now, before I introduce the video, I will let you know that after everything is done, after the ceremony has been closed, we still have exhibitors. So please make your way and check them out, engage with them. I'm sure they'll be very happy to talk to you. And with that, we have a very short video taking us through the highlights of the last 3 days for the second edition of Kenya Space Expo and Conference 2024.
There we go. A round of applause for that fantastic video. Extra round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Extra round of applause. Another round of applause, especially if you saw yourself as well in that video. Fantastic. That, of course, was produced by our Kenya Space Agency team, a multi-talented communications, videography, audio-visual team that did a fantastic job in getting us here. Ladies and gentlemen, as promised, we are really now at the tail end of our fantastic expo, and allow me to invite our Director General, who might say a few remarks, or he might go ahead and directly invite our board chair. I will leave it up to him, but maybe just a little about him. So Brigadier Hilary Kipkoskei is currently the acting, no, I know I've heard that already very many times. In the interest of time, please allow me, sir, to say that everything that Engineer Felix said is true, and there is more. But because of time, we will not say it all. Let's give a warm, massive, the loudest cheer for the entire conference as we conclude. Karibu, Karibu, Director General for the Kenya Space Agency and CEO, Brigadier Hilary Kipkoskei. Karibu.
The chair of KSA Board of Directors, who is our chief guest for this final event. All protocols observed. We have come to the end of what I believe has been a very successful, if not remarkable, conference. When we gathered here 2 days ago to officially open this conference, I did not, in my wildest expectation, believe that it would draw the interest and participation in the proceedings of a large number of delegates, especially our youth in the universities and colleges. And I say kudos to our youth and students from high school. The main purpose of this conference was to create awareness and elevate conversations to the national level on why space matters, and also provide our stakeholders and space enthusiasts with a platform for exchange of ideas, knowledge, sharing of experiences, and lessons learned. A very important objective was also to learn from industry experts and to showcase some of the technologies that are being leveraged to solve some of the pressing problems in our world using space or space-enabled technologies. It was also a great opportunity for some of our youthful innovators and startups to showcase their innovations and solutions to some of the pressing problems we face. The whole idea was to bring space closer to the common mwananchi and making it more relatable. I want to believe that to a very good extent, these objectives were met. It was very heartening and encouraging to see that both conference halls had a good number of participants through all the sessions, and that can only be an indicator that the agency struck a good chord and the message is getting out there that space really matters, and that the most important demographic in this country, our youth, identify with and see the endless opportunities that are possible with space. And because space is our future, I am happy that the youth are taking their rightful place in this space. Through the 3 days, we have had illuminating and insightful presentations and panel discussions that really spoke to the theme of the conference. And judging from the random feedback that I have received from a number of delegates and participants, the topics were quite pertinent and interesting. The innovations presented were inspiring and pointed to the endless possibilities that space really presents to us all. I will not belabor the objectives, which you all know. They are in the agenda, the conference agenda. But if you do a quick scan through them, I want to believe that we met most of those, if not all. And we also had very interesting, illuminating discussions around several topics, which again, I do not want to bore you all because I know a number of you participated in most of those sessions. The overarching main topic, which was a keynote, was on mainstreaming space economy in national development, and I want to believe there is some consensus that there is a need to do that. Distinguished guests, this conference and its success would not have been possible without the support from our esteemed sponsors. Again, I would like to sincerely thank all our gold sponsors, which is UN Food and Agriculture Organization, InSpace, and Expertise France. Our silver sponsors, SETHAD, Africa Limited, Satlantis, Italian Space Agency, and bronze sponsors, many of them, but I will mention them because we truly appreciate and acknowledge their support. Planet, Endurosat, Telcom, Dhruva Space, Maxa, Star Vision, Cooperative Bank, Equity Bank, Absa Bank, Intelsat, Digital Earth Africa, Kenya Power, Communications Authority, Safaricom, Defense Forces Canteen Organization, the Age Convention Center itself, College of Insurance, Pittman Holdings, Alto Hubs. I don't know if I've left out anybody. If I've left out anybody, it is not by intention. I appreciate your support. Again, I also wish to recognize all the partners from outside our borders who came all the way from their various destinations and participated with us in panel discussions and exhibitions. And we had delegations from India, from Italy, from China, from US, from UK, from France, from Spain, from Bulgaria, South Africa, Uganda, and Egypt, among others. We appreciate your support. We had initially intended to have a bigger reach, but because of budgetary considerations, we decided to scale it down to the very minimum. And still, we were able to get very good support from outside our borders. Again, I wish to recognize all the partners. During these 3 days, we have listened to the prayers and wishes of our budding space industry and startups. We have learned many lessons which will go a long way in improving our plans and strategies as an agency. I will still request and urge you that you do not hesitate to give us feedback through our conference email or the general email, which is info@ksa.go.ke, on how we can improve in the next edition of the conference, which is due in 2 years' time. We will do a conference report and share with you very soon. I will be remiss if I fail to thank our gracious host and personal support we have received from the Director General of the Age Convention Center, Dr. Kajwang. He went out of his way to make this venue comfortable for us. I also want to thank our many service providers who provided service in several areas, in catering services, in stage, audio, and visual services, security and traffic marshalling, entertainment, ushering, and many others. I say a big thank you to all. I also want to thank all our keynote speakers, our moderators, and the panelists for the insightful keynotes, presentations, and great conversations. I cannot forget to thank in a very special way our MCs, Mr. Karagania and Dr. Mwanasha, for making the conference sessions very lively, fun, and interesting. Thank you very much. Last but not least, I thank you all, our conference participants, each and every one of you, for your participation. Please let us keep in touch and continue our collaborations. With these few remarks, or many remarks, which is just really to appreciate, it is now my pleasure to invite the chair of the KSA Board of Directors, Major General Arwasa to make his remarks and officially close the Kenya Space Expo and Conference 2024. Chairman, sir.
As you've been told, I'm a retired military general. I'm also an African man of mature age. And usually displaying very deep emotions in that kind of description. One way in the military is that you will scare the troops, and in the family environment in an African setting, you will scare the mother and the children. But I sit here, I think, I walk around, I look. We could have decorated this place very nicely. The way it is looking, lay the booths. And if you are not here, how would the place look? What would it be? So the animation that we have here is through your energy, through your passion. I've been humbled by the amazing brains of men and women, mostly young, that we have assembled here. Entrepreneurs, forward-looking Kenyans, forward-looking Africans, and members of the international community who have come to support us. We are blessed. If I can humbly please ask you to stand up. Please stand. I would request you that you give yourself a very long applause for what we have achieved here. As hold. As I salute you, I'm a general. When we leave this hall, don't tell anybody that you were saluted by a general. Please, a round of applause for ourselves in a standing ovation. Please be seated. Distinguished members of the Kenya Space Agency Board, the Acting Director General, management and staff of the Kenya Space Agency, our esteemed sponsors, partners, and collaborators who have come to support us, valued stakeholders, and our dear guests who are here with us today. I also wish to extend my recognition of the teachers and the students who are here this morning, because that is the next generation to keep our space family alive. It is my honor to address this distinguished gathering on the closing ceremony of the second edition of the Kenya Space Expo and Conference. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Kenya Space Agency, I wish to sincerely thank you, our esteemed sponsors, exhibitors, speakers, panelists, moderators, MCs, and all the participants for honoring the invitation and participating in this valued conference. I want to thank the Kenya Space Agency management and the organizing committee for the great effort put in organizing this conference. And I also want to thank our gracious host, the Age Convention Center, for our world-class conferencing facilities that we have all enjoyed during this conference. Distinguished delegates, in the last 3 days, we have engaged in very useful discussions on how space technologies can accrue societal benefits, and witnessed from the exhibitions different technological solutions from government, industry, academia, startups, regional agencies, and international organizations. I believe it has been a great networking opportunity for all of us, so that we may be able to continue from here and have contacts, tentacles in the whole of, in the region, in Kenya, and internationally. It is my hope that the networks and the partnerships we have established will endure and realize mutual benefits for the prosperity and well-being of our peoples. I want to laud the presence of partners from around the globe, and in particular from our partners like in countries Italy, the United States, China, India, France, United Kingdom, Spain, South Africa, Egypt, Uganda, amongst others. As an agency, we value international cooperation, and I think the key word that has been floating around the conference has been collaboration, both locally, regionally, and internationally, because matter space cannot be done in isolation. And I look forward to strengthening them even more for the growth of our domestic space sector and economy. Your support went a long way in making this conference the success it is. We will continue to establish more mutually beneficial partnerships with other industry players, peer agencies, and other international organizations to build capacity and grow our space ecosystem and space economy. Having sat through the conference, as I was here throughout the 3 days, the sessions, and visited the exhibition booths, I'm confident that the conference has truly met the expectations of most of us and realized the objectives for which it was convened. And most importantly, serving to demonstrate the ability, the utility of space technologies for societal benefits, which was the theme of this conference. It was evident from discussions held that there is now widespread utilization of applications in Kenya, and there is need to upscale and at the same time stretch to wider areas of our nation. It is incumbent upon the government and the private sector to make the necessary investments to develop capabilities across the space technologies value chain to be able to reap from space science and technologies, as well as harnessing the large unexploited potential of our space economy. Key in ensuring the sustainability of our national space program and continued derivation of benefits of space technologies in national socioeconomic development is the growth of a resilient and thriving domestic private sector and space economy. The private sector is going to be very important in driving the space ecosystem in this country. And I'm happy to see that some startups are already in that field. It cannot be left to the government alone. And as you are aware, members of the space community Even in the United States, the space sector is now the leading, the private sector is now the leading contributor in the space economy area. KSA will continue to work closely with all our stakeholders to nurture and the growth of our space sector, to make the country a regional hub for innovation around space technologies and applications. We believe through this conference, we have provided a platform to the highly talented, skilled, and innovative youth to showcase their innovations and see the endless possibilities and opportunities in the space industry. And as we say in the motto of the Kenya Space Agency, possibilities beyond our skies. This second edition of the Kenya Space Expo and Conference has lived up to its expectations while also providing lessons to assist us organize a bigger and better event in 2026, God willing. We look forward to counting the gains from mainstreaming the space economy and national development and the synergies built to bridge the gap from policy to impact. Let us continue these conversations that we have started here and engagements that we have involved ourselves in here so that we can build our capacity through this synergy. It is now my honor and very distinct pleasure to declare the Kenya Space Expo and Conference 2024 officially closed, and may God bless you. I thank you.
Let's continue with a round of applause. Thank you very much. Another round of applause for our board chair, Major General retired Aruwas. Does this work? There's two mics. Oh, they've muted me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are done. I'm just going to kindly ask if we can rise to our feet as we conclude with the Kenyan National Anthem and the East African Community Anthem as well. Thank you very much. We may now leave. I encourage us all to take a selfie as you walk out. I wish I had my phone with me. And make sure you use the hashtag KSEC2024 as we leave. And let's give all ourselves a round of applause for getting through these incredible 3 days. I see one or two people taking selfies. we can encourage more. Let's use the stage. Remember, hashtag KSEC24. Let's tag Kenya Space Agency on all the platforms as well. Our appreciation is astronomical. Thank you all. Thanks, Ronnie, Ricardo. Lovely stuff.